Now, another thing I was looking at were some teams that were looking good, and I will say this: there's a lot of teams that were looking good. There's a lot of them. We can say the Seattle Seabags, Buffalo Bills have been looking good. The Denver Broncos, they've been looking really good, especially with Denver naming Teddy Bridgewater, who Teddy B. I'm a huge Teddy B fan. I've liked Teddy B since Louisville. I thought that when he messed off he busted his knee, and then he's been out for a while and came back, and he just didn't come back to being that that comfortable guy who everybody expects him to be. He's still a good quarterback, and I think that he has weapons all over the place. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, I was watching the Buffalo Bills versus the Green Bay Packers, and Josh Allen looked sharp. Their defense looked great. And we can say, well, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. We're going back to what I was just saying a moment ago. Football doesn't stop just because a certain player wasn't playing. These guys are executing their game plan. They're trying to make sure they're trying. This is a dress rehearsal going into week one. So if you just so happen looked kind of crappy against their ones, that's on you. That's why I don't. I put it like this. I just say I like the way how they looked. I know that again, defenses didn't really play their defenses. They didn't really show their schemes and all this. But the point is, the way how the team looked. That's where you. That's what I'm taking from it. Something that you can expect from. Something that is like, okay, well, if your key players go down, will somebody be able to step up? And I saw that on a couple of these teams, and I can honestly say, hey, you need to watch out. Now, a bad team, and this is not. I'm not just going to say this because I hate this team, but I'm just kind of disgusted. But I'm just saying, I feel the Dallas Cowboys better pray that none of their key players don't get hurt, because a lot of these guys just look pathetic. I was watching their offensive line getting bullied in the Jacksonville game, looking at their backup quarterbacks. Cooper Rush looked horrible. Ben DiNucci, Garrett Gilbert. These guys are horrible. The defensive line. It's just the secondary. It's a shame. It's a shame that I don't that these guys just that they looked this bad, but yet this is the team that you're expecting to contend and to be in the NFC to win the NFC East and to make a strong push in the playoffs. We're going back to what I'm saying. They better hope that none of their key players get hurt, and they better hope that they don't play any contenders. So, couple my other thing that I wanted to talk about were there were fights in the stands. I don't know if you saw it, but if you did, and I'll put the links in the videos. But there were two fights in the stand. One, the in week one, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles Rams fans were fighting. In week two, there was the Detroit Lions and the Pittsburgh Steelers. There was a fight in Heinz Field. The other fight, the Chargers and the Rams game, was at Soho Stadium, or Dome, or however, whatever that thing is called, the Majesty. I don't know. I don't know what is it with fans that just feel like they can just get in people's face and start something. This is the reason why I don't want to take my son to any of these pro games, He's told me many times that I want to go to a 49er game. And I want to take him there. I want to go to Santa Clara. I want to have us go to a 49er game where we can sit down and watch a game and he can be excited to watch one of his favorite team. But then I see stuff like this, and this is just like, no, I don't want my son to go there. And this is what really pisses me off. And I know right now at this point I'm going to piss some people off, but I don't care. Now, one thing is that in both these fights, the catalysts were two ladies. This one woman in the Chargers and the Rams game, she threw a soda at the guy. Nobody saw it, and then the guy got agitated, and everybody jumped this guy, and he got worked. The guy, I don't know which team he was going for, but one guy got worked by a group of guys. And then when you look at the lady in the camera, she looks all smirk and smug, like, yeah, I did that, so what? Or watch this. She actually had this look like, watch this. And threw it and got mad. And everybody got mad. And then the Lions and the Steelers fight. The lady was in the guy's face. They're fighting. He's telling her to get out of my face. She went to go hit him. He blocked, and then she smacked him. So then the guy hit her. Then her boyfriend got up, and then he went and put two pieces on him. And then she gets, and then she wants to, and then I believe that she was about to say something, but everybody's bringing him up, and then you have all these Captain Save-A-Me's coming to the rescue, and everybody's like, no, she started. This is where I'm going to say something that's going to probably trigger people, because we live in a day and age where you can't say anything like this, and that people are going to want to cancel you and say that you're putting down women. I'm not putting down women at all. I'm saying keep your hands to yourself. I don't subscribe to the men don't hit women lifestyle, so we men should just get hit all the time. But I don't subscribe to women hitting men either. You don't know who this person is, and you want to get in their face. I have nieces, because I don't have any sisters. I have sister-in-laws. And I have, cousins, aunts, and, good friends, women. And it kind of scares me if any of them were abused. I'll give you an example. October 24th, 2015. I walked into I went to the hospital where my niece was born. My niece was born that day. I walked in, the mother, she was asleep, and my brother, he was holding my niece. And he looked very, much like, wow, this is mine. I'll tell you another story. December the 2nd, 2000, I'm going to say 2004, 2005. I'm going to say 2005. One of my best friends, his daughter was born. And when I walked in, he was crying, holding her, and he looked as if the same thing way how my younger brother looked. I will do everything I can to protect you. No one will ever hurt you. And I admire them for that, because I have a boy. I'll make sure that he's not protected, but I don't have that error like them, because it's a woman. We men we are geared to protecting our women. That's how we are. But you know something? As I just said a moment ago, I have a son. I can't see any woman just feeling that just because she is a lady that she can put her hands on my kid and then she look back at me, you touch me and you're going to jail, ha ha. And then she can sit here and do whatever she wants, like, I'm doing this to you, ha ha. That is where that's where I'm like, no. I don't play that. I don't care what your gender is. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what your political views are. I don't care what your religion. I don't care about nothing. Keep your hands to yourself. And this is the reason, fans, if you want to debate with somebody, I love debating football all the time. I love arguing with people all the time about sports. Why? Because that's what we as sports fans do. But if you get that angry that you want to put your hands on somebody just because you don't like their point of view, then you need to go somewhere. I can't fathom that. I'm not a big fan of people just wanting to hurt somebody just because you feel like you can. Oh, because I identify as this, so that means I get to hit you, and if you do that, then you hate me because of what I identify as. No. Regardless of the fact of what you identify as, of who you are, your religion, race, whatever, you're still a person. That's what we all have in common. And I don't like seeing fights in the stands. I hate seeing that when people want to fight in the stands, all because you don't like the team that they cheer for, or you don't like the fact that they walk funny, or they're wearing somebody's jersey, or whatever it is. Go in there, watch the game, debate with somebody, laugh, joke, make fun of them. But in the end of the day, hey, it's just a game. I remember a couple years ago where the 49ers and the Raiders, they were brawling. I mean, these guys are going toe-to-toe. They're squaring up, wanting to knock people out. I mean, there are stuff about people brawling. My frat brother told me one day when he went in Old Texas Stadium, because his stepmother, she worked with the Dallas Cowboys, and he would get tickets to go to their games. And he told me about this Eagle fan. He walked past somebody, and he got jumped, and security couldn't get to him on time. But he had an Eagle jersey. He had an Eagle jersey going on in there. When everybody dispersed, somebody else had that Eagles jersey. Why? I get it. Cowboy fans and Eagle fans hate each other. I definitely get it. I hate the Los Angeles Rams. I hate the Cowboys. I hate the Seattle Seabags. I definitely don't like the New Orleans Saints. I can't stand the Arizona Cardinals. F the Atlanta Falcons. And oh my God, the Carolina Panthers can go jump in a sewage treatment plant. But I don't want to sit there and fight somebody over that. People, just keep your hands to yourself. But good so far. I haven't seen that there are any fights that are going on that happen in week 3, but that doesn't mean that one won't happen. Trust me, I'm going to probably go on Monday, and I'm going to probably sit there and I'm like, oh my God, not again. So, this is another thing that I wanted to bring up, and it was Jameis Winston and Dwayne Haskins. It looks like these guys may have may be resurrecting their NFL careers. Jameis Winston was the former number 1 overall pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2015, and he didn't have a stellar career, but he had a problem with turning the ball over. Dwayne Haskins was the 15th overall pick of the 2018 draft, and and he didn't even look like he cared. He was more worried about strip clubs and trying to find Instagram models. But both of these guys are now in good situations, and this is why I would, as much as I may hate the New Orleans Saints, Jameis Winston is in a good situation. Sean Payton has resurrected a lot of NFL careers. We can go with the number one, Drew Brees. Well, we won't say Drew Brees per se because Drew Brees' his career was starting to take off. Oh, was starting to take off back when when he was in San Diego, and he was able to just show like he can play. But Sean Payton was able to take him to heights where now he's Hall of Fame worthy. He will be a first ballot. He's probably the greatest New Orleans Saints player of all time. I mean, Super Bowl MVP was their Super Bowl MVP. I mean, so it's obvious, right? You saw him. You've seen him do that with Teddy Bridgewater, because when Teddy came back, Teddy looked pretty good over there in New Orleans. Also, coming back after missing so long with Minnesota, right up being number 3. And when he came back, and then he sat back and learned the game behind Drew Brees. And I believe he played in 4 games. He started because Drew Brees had got hurt, and he did a steady job. He did a real good job there. I think they only lost 1 game. I believe they only lost 1 game. So he's been steady. He even went to Carolina, and yeah, everybody's gonna say, well he messed it up in Carolina. No, Carolina messed up everything so bad in the 2020 season that Christian McCaffrey refused to play. They can say, well, he was hurt. No, he wasn't hurt. He wasn't hurt. He just didn't want to go out there. So I can actually say that with Jameis Winston, he's in good hands right now with Sean Payton. He's got he's got the starting job. He looked very sharp. He looks like he's he can still be able to send it, but he's being smart with the ball, and that's one thing that you need. You need a you need a coach. The coach who's going to be able to who's going to be able to teach you everything. Dwayne Haskins, when he was in Washington, I don't think that the organization really had his back. If you can tell, you can kind of tell when a franchise has a player's back because it's the way how they go about it, and they didn't really try to to shoo your rookie quarterback along. You're not shooing him around, but they didn't try to bring him along. It's like they just threw him out there, and when he didn't look good, okay, well, I think we're going to move on. How do you expect your rookie to move on if you guys don't have it? And Ron Rivera looked like he just didn't care for him. Now he's in Pittsburgh. He's behind Ben Roethlisberger. Mason Rudolph, I don't think he's going to he's their guy. You see who he is. So Dwayne Haskins, he's in a good situation where he can just be able to sit back, relax, learn the quarterback position. So when Ben Roethlisberger decides he wants to retire, Mason and Dwayne, they can duke it out to see who's going to take the reins this next time. And there's really no rush. Sometimes that goes back to what I was saying with these other quarterbacks, with Trey, Justin, and Mac. Sometimes just sitting behind the quarterback can really be able to resurrect your career, can really help you instead of just throwing them out there. And Pittsburgh is definitely another good situation. Now, one thing I will say this, and I need to go back, and I'm going to circle back to Jameis Winston. I find it funny how everybody wants to call Jameis Winston a bust. And they say like he can't play, that he's like this horrible quarterback because he's throwing a lot of interceptions. But I can remember a certain quarterback. I can remember a certain quarterback who everybody loves, and some people put him as one of the greatest. Was notorious for turning the ball over all over the place. And I'm talking about Brett Lorenzo Favre. The only time I really like Brett Lorenzo Favre was from 1995 to 1998. That Brett Favre was a monster. Painkiller, drunk Favre. I like that guy. The other guy, he was okay. He was serviceable. He was a good quarterback. But 95 and 98, no one can touch him. As a CM Punk can say, no one can touch me. But yet, he was always throwing picks. He was also in key games throwing the ball to everybody else. The day when his dad died, and he had one of the greatest games out there when he was just throwing the ball up. Devon Walker, Bubba Franks, and all these other guys are just sitting there catching the ball. And I've sat there and I watched those replays over and over. So let me back up, and I'll also put I'll put a clip on this one because I know that they have a clip of it. Brett Favre's dad died. I believe it was on a Saturday. Or it was, and what happened was when his dad died, everybody was wondering like, should Brett play? Should he not play? This is a Monday night versus the Raiders. So what happened is Brett says that he's going to play. So what happens is that Brett goes out and plays, and he lights up the Oakland Raiders secondary. Oh, he lights him up. But if you look at the way how he was throwing the ball, and if you look at the way how he was throwing the ball, it's like he was just throwing it up. So this happened on this game was on December 22nd, 2003. His dad died of a heart attack while driving in Mississippi. And again, on Monday night, everybody was so this happened on a Sunday, and everybody was like asking him like, okay, so you're gonna play? No, I'm not gonna play. So what happens is that he said he's gonna play. He goes in there and he has one of the greatest games of all. The problem is that he was throwing the ball up. He was just throwing it up. And it just so happened these guys were just magically coming down with the game. It's like Irv Favre was just dropping the ball there. It was not as prolific as everybody makes it seem like. It did not seem, it just seemed like just magically these guys were catching passes. But they were in good coverage. You can't. And that's what Brett Favre does. So when everybody gets on Jameis Winston about the way how he throws the ball and how he's turnover prone and everything, if you're going to say that about Jameis Winston, then you might as well say that about Brett Favre too. The only difference is everybody's going to say, well, Brett Favre is the league MVP and he's the Super Bowl champion. Well, yeah, you know what? We'll go ahead and get, granted, you can throw that out there too. But again, if Jameis gets there, are you going to take back every bad thing that you said? Because there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that have been turnover prone, and nobody bats an eye. Hate to tell you, Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions also. Eli Manning, who a lot of people are saying, he's the first ballot Hall of Fame because he's the Super Bowl MVP. He led the league in interceptions a couple of times too. But I guess because he's the Super Bowl MVP, he gets a pass. If that's just the case, then Trent Dilfer definitely should be a starting quarterback, and he should be the man. Or Brad Johnson should be able to also, because they're Super Bowl winning quarterbacks also. Doug Williams, if I recall, and I'm over here looking at this, Doug Williams, after winning that Super Bowl, he had a very, after winning that Super Bowl back in 1988 against the Denver Broncos, and he lit up the Denver Broncos secondary. He had a short-lived career, but he was Super Bowl MVP. He had one of the most. He had a record day. I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say, but I'm just saying. Jameis Winston is going to. If Jameis Winston has to bounce back.